If I told you I was surprised, I'd be a liar. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today I bring you an update to the whole Dave Chappelle attacker situation. Now, we all know the initial story. Some ridiculous idiot got on stage and tried to attack Dave Chappelle, tried doing that Bill Goldberg spear right on stage, and he was not necessarily very successful. Dave did fall down, but when the guy tried to escape the stage, they caught him, and they gave him the Beats by Dre, Beats by the Pound. They were tenderizing this guy like he was going to be on the Sunday brunch menu. You understand what I'm saying? His arm was looking like it won't be of use anymore. The elbow, shoulder, wrist, all of that was just completely backwards. The elbow was like 90 degrees facing this way to the camera. It was a whole big mess. They beat the brakes off that guy. They beat his nail polish off. They beat his hair plaits almost off. They tore him up. He didn't die, but he did get softened up for trying to attack Dave Chappelle. I mean, you might as well try to attack a state senator or like a governor of a state, something like that. That's a pretty bold move. However, this guy will not face any charges under the current DA Gascon in Los Angeles County. They will not prosecute this case because they said it's not a felony. He had a weapon. We'll get to that in a minute. Matter of fact, hold on. Before I go really too deep into the rabbit hole, here's an article right here, New York Times. And of course, all my articles, all my links will be in the description box so you can see them for yourself. So here is a more detailed view of what's going on. No felony weapon charge for a man accused in Dave Chappelle attack. Because like I said, he had a weapon, but they won't charge him for the weapon. And I'll explain why in a minute. After examining the evidence, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office declined to prosecute the man, Isaiah Lee, 23, with a felony. He could face a misdemeanor charge. Now, since they won't charge him with a felony, they're not going to prosecute it under Gascon in LA County, so they get kicked down to the municipal court where they do things like traffic tickets. So this guy probably won't go to jail, let alone the penitentiary. If he's in custody right now, he'll probably be released at any moment, and then that'll pretty much be it. Okay, it might go down to the municipal court. He might get a ticket or a fine, but I doubt he'll do any jail time because they're not going to prosecute him the way that they should, right? LA is really soft on crime nowadays, so a misdemeanor, I mean, what's that? Pretty much nothing. Okay, so he has bail set at $30,000. So what, is it 10%? Is it $3,000? He probably won't even need the bail because he'll be released pretty soon, right? He's just, he has bail right now until they decide what they're going to do. Once they kick it down to the municipal court, that might be pretty much it. If I'm wrong about that, y'all let me know in the comments, right? So he was treated at a hospital for his injuries. I don't know what they did with their arm. They might as well amputate that because that thing ain't going to be no more good, okay? They got to put him on some serious narcotics to go ahead and recover from that one because good grief, that thing was, you're talking about backwards. You had the elbow facing at a 90-degree angle toward the camera. That thing, it was a whole big mess. So that's the weapon right there that he had. Okay, this is the weapon. Let's give you a clearer view. So what this is a replica gun. It's not a real gun, obviously, and it has it's like a pocket knife. Matter of fact, I got one right here. Hold on. It's like a pocket knife like this, but rather than it just having a regular handle like this one, it has a gun handle. So you see the little blade on it. That's the same thing that is on that, right? So he brought this to the event probably with the intent to use it on Dave Chappelle, but they're saying since when he got on stage, this thing was still in his bag at his seat, that he didn't use it during the commission of a crime. Therefore, there won't be a felony weapons charge. However, if he brought the gun to the place, and there's a clear image of it, if he brought the gun to the place, you see how it folds up. He brought it to the place with the intent to use it. If you were able to get on stage and attack Dave Chappelle. He also had a song called Dave Chappelle from some years back. The guy's a nut. Okay, so that's pretty much it. They're not going to prosecute it. Maybe they said because he got beat down, that was enough. And people that said that they went overboard by beating him, well, it wasn't going to be any punishment from the court, so what are we going to do? Now, Howard Stern had a really good take here, and I won't say I'm surprised at what he says because I'm not a fan of Howard Stern, especially lately with the whole Trump stuff and all this, anti-conservative rhetoric. But what he says right here is just good common sense, and I'm not going to deny it because of my personal feelings toward the guy. So let's go ahead and roll this here. Let's get some sound going.
Here's the point I want to make about this and how f***ed up Hollywood is. And some people in that audience at the Academy Awards should still be very ashamed of themselves. I hope they are. Now, this guy jumped up on stage and attacked Dave Chappelle. Let me ask you a question. As soon as that happened, did they let him go back to his seat and laugh and sit next to his wife and then give him an award? No.
So there's the ruckus again that they're showing on the screen here. And then there's the Will Smith slap. That's still crazy to me.
They took him backstage. They broke his arms and hands so bad that when they carried out this attacker on the stretcher, his arm, there's a video of it, you can watch it. His arm is twisted backwards. It's like no human arm ever. They broke his hands, his wrists, his arm. They beat the shit out of him. But at the Academy Awards, the same exact thing happened. And everyone came over and consoled Will Smith.
That's right. Now you see that arm. Good grief. That thing right there. That's not a natural way for the arm to go. But what Howard Stern said was correct. It was 100% correct. Regardless of what I think about him, regardless of what all the, the anti-conservative stuff or whatever, it doesn't even really matter. That's not really important. What he said was correct. What should have happened at the Oscars was people came out to console Chris Rock to make sure that Chris Rock was straight and to make sure that Will Smith didn't go up there and try to do nothing else or nothing crazy. But what they did was the exact opposite. They went on stage and not on stage. They went over to Will Smith and consoled him rather than Chris Rock. Oh, are you okay? And then standing ovation, round of applause, gave him an award, all this and that. They partied with him after the event. That's how fake Hollywood is. It's super fake. These incidents both happened in Los Angeles, so it tells you it's preferential treatment. That's that whole celebrity privilege. You're Will Smith. You can do no wrong. So you can get on stage and assault somebody and then still be praised as some kind of hero and freedom fighter while you crying and everything else afterward. It's a whole big mess. Now, shout out to Heather McDonald. You guys may remember her. Remember I did a video, or you may not have seen the video, but there was an incident where she was performing on stage and she just collapsed. Boom, right on the stage. And what happened was she had gotten the shot and she thinks that it could have been as a result of that. Okay? Because there's been a whole lot of that going, people just fainting and falling out. That could have been a result. And she got some kickback for even bringing that up, but it makes sense. Now, she's upset about the whole situation with Dave Chappelle and the attacker not being charged with a felony. Because now it's like, all right, well, if you're in LA and you're at a comedy show and you don't like what the comedian says, you're able just to go on stage and attack them without any kind of consequences. That's what this says. And she has a good point because Dave Chappelle, his situation is much different than hers. Not everybody is as rich and famous and powerful as Dave is. So let me get to the meat and potatoes here. Okay. The Dave Chappelle attacker has opened a dangerous can of worms for comedians around the world, but especially in Los Angeles, where the controversial district attorney just rejected felony prosecution, and one famous comedian worries the decision could lead to more violent and even fatal encounters. Heather McDonald is outraged that Chappelle's attacker, 23-year-old Isaiah Lee, won't be charged with a felony assault with a deadly weapon. McDonald blames L.A. County District Attorney George Gascon, whom she believes should be recalled. All right, Heather McDonald, that's right. Get on that recall train. Gascon has faced heavy criticism and has butted heads with the LAPD for its lax punishments and low bond figures for criminals. Our LAPD sources say they're outraged by the decision to kick the case to the LA city attorney for misdemeanor prosecution. Heather says she'll have to take show security into her own hands to protect her from Chappelle's copycats. So she's offering free VIP tickets to cops who will enjoy the show and offer a measure of protection. All right, that's what I'm talking about. I like that. But I understand the purpose too. She shouldn't have to do that, but here we are. Heather says, quote, unlike Dave Chappelle, I travel alone and do not have private security or 10 strapping male friends hanging out backstage when I perform. Exactly, because remember, when the guy got on stage at the Chappelle show, it probably would have been zero punishment. He probably could have just done that and got away with it if not for the guys that were on stage that went ahead and gave him the Beats by Dre. So now you know to not try to do that with Dave Chappelle. Chappelle might stomp you. Jon Stewart might stomp you. I'm not saying that they did. I'm just saying that it could happen, right? If you backstage drinking your little glass of wine or your coffee or whatever, and this guy wants to attack your friend and everybody stomping them, you might get in a few celebratory stomps yourself. I'm just saying. But Heather McDonald does not have that luxury. She's on there by herself as a woman, single woman with no real protection. And you got a guy that comes to the event with this in his backpack with malicious intent. What's going to happen? What is going on? Okay. So, and she's going to vote for Rick Caruso in the upcoming election. I'm not sure who that is. You guys in LA, y'all let me know who that is. But yeah, shout out to Howard Stern and Heather McDonald. Those are two really good opinions, two really good just viewpoints on the whole situation. But as I close, I want to say this. There's got to be punishment for these people that go on stage and attack comedians. If you attack anybody, if you do any kind of crime like that, then there should be some punishment, because the message is, if there's no punishment, the message is I could do whatever I want, whenever I want, because anybody going to do anything. Or if there is like a lax punishment, like if you steal something and you might just get a fine for stealing it and the fine is less than what you stole is worth, just pay the fine and steal the item and you make a profit. People, they think like that. You think like that. So you got to have the appropriate punishment to deter crime from happening in the first place. Because if you don't, you're going to have more and more Will Smith incidents, Dave Chappelle incidents, and so on and so forth. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about what's going on here with the whole Will Smith and Dave Chappelle? And like, how you feel about what's happening with the apparent open season on comedians? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I called this from the beginning. Right when the Will Smith drama happened, I'm like, okay, if this goes on and people are celebrating them and just letting them get away with it, you're going to see a lot more things like this unfold. It's the natural progression. It just simply makes sense. It's not what I would want to happen, but it's what's going to happen. It's very simple. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.